Shalom, Mishpaka. Call halal Yahuwah Bahashem Yahusha. This is part 2 of the series on the laws, statutes, and commandments that are still in effect and still required to be kept today, which are in excess of 300 laws. So I will be picking up where I left off from part 1. It's going to be in the book of Leviticus. So it'll be Leviticus chapter 11, verses 4 through 8, and will be commandment number 52. So again, that's Leviticus chapter 11, verses 4 through 8, and it's commandment number 52. And it reads, "Nevertheless, these shall ye not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof, as the camel, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof. He is unclean unto you." Verse 5, "And the coney, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof. He is unclean to you." Verse 6, "And the hare, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof. He is unclean unto you." Verse 7, "And the swine, the pig, though he divide the hoof, and be cloven footed, yet he cheweth not the cud. He is unclean to you." Verse 8, "Of their flesh shall ye not eat, and their carcass shall you not touch. They are all unclean to you." So again, that was Leviticus chapter 11, verses 4 through 8. And I was dealing with some of the dietary law. All right, so the next verse we're going to go to is Leviticus 11 and 9. And it reads, "These animals shall you eat of all that are in the waters. Whatsoever hath fins and scales in the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers, them shall you eat." And that's number 53, Leviticus 11 and 9, and that's commandment number 53. Next, we're going down to verse 10. And it'll be Leviticus chapter 11, verse 10 through 11, commandment number 54. And it reads, "And all that have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you." Verse 11, "They shall be even an abomination unto you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, but ye shall have their carcasses in abomination." All right, next verse we're going to is down to verse 13, Leviticus chapter 11, verse 13 through 20. And that's going to be commandment number 54. And it reads, "And these are they which ye shall have in abomination among the fowls or the birds. They shall not be eaten. They are an abomination: the eagle, the ossifrage, the osprey." Verse 14, "The vulture, the kite after his kind." Verse 15, "Every raven after his kind." Verse 16, "The owl and the nighthawk, and the cuckoo, and the hawk after his kind. Verse 17, and the little owl, and the cormorant, and the great owl. Verse 18, and the swan, and the pelican, and the greer eagle. Verse 19, and the stork, and the heron after her kind, and the lapwing, and the bat. Verse 20, all fowls that creep, going upon all four, shall be an abomination unto you. All right, so that's commandment number 54. Going down to the next verse, in verse 21 and 22 of Leviticus chapter 11, and it'll be commandment number 55. And it reads, yet these may ye eat of every flying, creeping thing that goeth upon all four, which have legs above their feet, to leap withal upon the earth. Verse 22, even these of them ye may eat, the locust after his kind, the ball locust after his kind, the beetle after his kind, and the grasshopper after his kind. All right, next we're going down to verse 23. And that's going to be Leviticus 11 and 23, commandment number 56. And it reads, but of all things flying, creeping, but of all other flying, creeping things, which have 4 feet, shall be an abomination unto you. All right, so next we're going down to verse 29 and 30. It's going to be commandment number 57. So it's Leviticus 11, verse 29 and 30. And it reads, these also shall be unclean unto you among the things that creep upon the earth, the weasel, the mouse, the tortoise or turtle after his kind. Verse 30, the ferret and the chameleon and the lizard and the snail and the mole. So these are more of the forbidden foods that we are not to partake of. And that's commandment number 57. All right, so we're going down to verse 41. It's going to be commandment number 58. So that's Leviticus chapter 11, verse 41. And it reads, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth shall be an abomination. It shall not be eaten. Verse 42. Whatsoever goeth upon the belly, and whatsoever goeth upon all four, or whatsoever hath more feet among all creeping things that creep upon the earth, them ye shall not eat, for they are an abomination. All right, so that's commandment number 58. Going down to verse 43. That's Leviticus chapter 11, verse 43, and that's commandment number 59, and it reads, ye shall not make yourselves abominable with any creeping thing that creepeth, neither shall you make yourselves unclean with them, that you should be defiled thereby. Going down to verse 44 is going to be commandment number 60, and it reads, for I am Yahuwah, thy Elohim. You shall therefore sanctify yourselves, and you shall be holy, for I am holy. Neither shall you defile yourselves with any manner of creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So that's Leviticus 11 and 44. And that's commandment number 60. All right, so next we're going to go over to Leviticus chapter 12. We're going to pick up on verse number 2, and that's going to be commandment number 61. And it reads, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, if any woman have conceived a seed and born a man child, then she shall be unclean 7 days according to the days of her separation for her infirmity. She shall be unclean. So that's Leviticus 12 and 2. All right, so we're going down to verse number 4. And it reads, and it's going to be commandment number 62. And she, continuing from verse 2, talking about the woman after she gives birth being unclean. Verse 4, and it reads, and she shall then continue in the blood of her purifying 33 days. That's 33 days. She shall touch no hallowed thing, nor come into the sanctuary until the days of her purifying be fulfilled. So that's a total of 40 days if she gives birth to a male child for the woman to be unclean. And again, that's commandment number 62. That's Leviticus 12 and 4. All right, we're going down to the next verse, and it's dealing with the woman giving birth to a female child. Verse 5 reads, but if she bear a maid child, then she shall be unclean for 2 weeks, as in her separation, and she shall continue in the blood of her purifying for 60 days. So that's a total of 80 days of her being unclean when giving birth to a female child. So that's commandment number 63. All right, so we're going down to Leviticus chapter 16 now. It's going to be commandment number 64, Leviticus 16 and 29. And it reads, and this shall be a statute forever unto you, that in the 7th month on the 10th day of the month, you shall afflict your souls and do no work at all, whether it be one of your own country or an Israelite stranger that sojourneth among you. So this is the Feast of Atonement. And it's the commandment that we should fast that day. And again, let's read that again, Leviticus chapter 16, 29. And this shall be a statute forever unto you, that in the 7th month, on the 10th day of the month, you shall afflict your souls. And we have cross references to what afflict your soul is in the book of Psalms, chapter 35 and 13. And it gives the cross reference as being fasting. So there's no doubt about what the Feast of Atonement is calling for here. So you shall afflict your souls, picking back up on verse 29 in the middle, and do no work at all, whether it be one of your own country or a stranger or Israelite stranger that sojourneth among you. That's commandment number 64, Feast of Atonement. Going to the next commandment is going to be commandment number 65, found in Leviticus chapter 17, verse 12. And it reads, therefore, I said unto the children of Israel, no soul of you shall eat blood, neither shall any stranger that sojourneth among you eat blood. Again, that's making reference to Israelite strangers. So the commandment here is a prohibition of eating blood. And that's Leviticus chapter 17, verse 12. And that's commandment number 65. All right, moving down to the next commandment, number 66. And it's found in Leviticus chapter 18, verse 6. And it reads, none of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him to uncover their nakedness. I am Yahuwah. So this commandment is the law against incest. There's several verses in this chapter that's dealing with the laws against incest. So again, Leviticus chapter 18 and 6, and that's commandment number 66. It's the Most High giving his prohibition against incest. All right, so we're going down to verse 19, Leviticus chapter 18, verse 19. And it reads, also, thou shalt not approach unto a woman to uncover her nakedness as long as she is put apart for her uncleanness. All right, now speaking of here, the woman being on her menstrual cycle, there's no sex to be taking place when a woman is on having her period or menstrual cycle. And that is Leviticus chapter 18, verse 19. And again, that's commandment number 67. All right, so we're moving on to the next commandment, number 68, in this Leviticus chapter 18, verse 22. And it reads, thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is an abomination. So verse 22 here is speaking against the Most High's prohibition against homosexuality and lesbianism. And he calls that type of action or sexual activity an abomination. Leviticus 18:22. Moving down to the next commandments, commandment number 69, and it's Leviticus chapter 18, verse 23. And it reads, neither shalt thou lie with any beast to defile thyself therewith, neither shall any woman stand before a beast to lie down thereto. It is confusion. So this particular commandment is the prohibition against bestiality, having sex with animals. The Most High strictly prohibits this. All right, moving on to the next commandment. Commandment number 70 is found in Leviticus chapter 19, verse 2. And it reads, speak unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, and say unto them, ye shall be holy, for I, Yahuwah, your Elohim, am holy. So this is the commandment that the Most High gives to the children of Israel, to be holy, to be set apart. The word holy is kodash, and it means to be set apart and separate. So he holds us to a higher standard than the rest of these people, the Gentiles. All right, moving down to the next commandment. It's going to be commandment number 71. And it's found in verse 3 of chapter 19. And it reads, ye shall fear every man his mother and his father, and keep my Sabbaths. I am Yahuwah your Elohim. The next commandment is commandment number 72. It's found in chapter 19, verse 14 of Leviticus. And it reads, thou shalt not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind, but shall fear thy Elohim. I am Yahuwah. All right, this is a prohibition against cursing or playing dirty tricks or putting stumbling blocks in front of the blind, and cursing people that can't hear, that's deaf. So we have to have respect for all our brothers and sisters that are of the bloodline of Israel. We can't play tricks on them and make fun of them or try to harm them in any way. All right, so that is Leviticus chapter 19, verse 14. All right, the next commandment is going to be number 73, and it's going to be Leviticus 19 and 16. And it reads, thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am Yahuwah. All right, the next one is number 74, and it's Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. And that's Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17, commandment number 74. All right, we're going down to the next verse. Is going to be commandment number 75, and it reads in Leviticus 19 and 18, thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am Yahuwah. So that's Leviticus chapter 19, verse 18. Next, we're going down to verse 19. It's going to be commandment number 76. And it's Leviticus 19 and 19, and it reads, "Ye shall keep my statutes. Thou shalt not let thy cattle gender with a diverse kind. Thou shalt not sow thy seed with mingled seed, neither shall a garment mingled of linen and woolen come upon thee." All right, so this particular commandment is the prohibition of the Most High of mixing animals and mixing different types of seed, like in genetic modification, and also the prohibition of wearing the garments that were set apart for the priests, and that's linen and wool. And that is, again, Leviticus chapter 19 and 19. And that's number 76. All right, moving down to the next one, commandment number 77. And that's Leviticus chapter 19, verse 26. And it reads, "Ye shall not eat anything with blood, neither shall you use enchantment nor observe times." All right, so using enchantments and observing times, that's talking about the pagan holidays, such as Halloween, Christmas, and all these different things. And also the other one, using blood, is pretty much self-explanatory. So that is Leviticus 19 and 26, the prohibition of eating anything with blood and using enchantments and observing times. All right, the next commandment is number 78, and it's Leviticus 19 and 27. And it reads, "Ye shall not round the corners of your heads, neither shalt thou mar the corners of thy beard." All right, so this one has a lot of people in derision and confusion, and it's talking about destroying the sides of your beard or the sides of your hair by pulling them out, violently pulling them out, because that word is nakaf in the Hebrew, and it means to pull out violently or strike out. And it's not a prohibition against shaving your head. It's not a prohibition against shaving your beard. It's about following pagan customs of violently pulling out your hair in honor of a god or to remember some dead person. So this is Leviticus 19:27. And again, that's commandment number 78. All right, moving on to the next commandment, number 79, is Leviticus 19 and 29. And it reads, "Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom and the land become full of wickedness." All right, this is a commandment that we should not abuse our daughters and cause her to be a prostitute. We are not in the land of Israel anymore, but we still must raise our children to be God-fearing and respectable young women, and to dress also in modest apparel. Okay, so that is Leviticus 19 and 29. And that's commandment number 79. So we're moving on to the next commandment, number 80, and that's Leviticus 19 and 30. Leviticus 19 and 30. And it reads, "Ye shall keep my Sabbaths and reverence my sanctuary. I am Yahuwah." All right, so again, he's giving us the command to keep his Sabbaths, and this time he's adding reverence his sanctuary. We don't have the temple anymore, but anywhere where Israelites gather and congregate to read the word is considered the Most High sanctuary. So we must respect the building that wherever we're gathering, because it belongs to the Most High. All right, so that's Leviticus 19 and 30. All right, the next commandment is number 81, and it's Leviticus 19 and 31. It says, "Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. I am Yahuwah, your Elohim." All right, the next commandment is number 82, and it's Leviticus 19 and 32. Thou shalt not rise up before the hoary head and honor the face. Well, thou shalt rise, excuse me, let me read that again. Thou shalt rise up before the hoary head and honor the face of the old man and fear thy Elohim. I am Yahuwah. So this verse is the command by the Most High to respect our elders and have, just having respect for the people that's older. And that's Leviticus 19 and 32. All right, moving on to the next commandment is number 83, and that's Leviticus 19 and 33. And if a stranger, and that word in the Hebrew is ger, referring to an Israelite stranger, and if a stranger sojourn with thee in your land, ye shall not vex him. All right, again, so we are not in the land, but we are not to vex people from different tribes, from the 12 tribes. We can't show respect for, people from the tribe of Judah, not respect people from the tribe of Ephraim. That's what this is getting into. All right, so that's Leviticus 19 and 33. All right, so we're moving on to the next commandment. It's number 84, and it's Leviticus 19, 35 through 36. And it reads, ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment, in meat yard, in weight, or in measure, just balances, just weights, a just ephah, and a just hin shall you have. I am Yahuwah, your Elohim, which brought you out of the land of Egypt. So right here is just speaking of being an honest person in business and in all of our dealings with our fellow brothers and sisters, and not to cheat one another. All right, so that is Leviticus 19, verse 35 and 36. All right, so we're moving on to the next commandment. It's going to be commandment number 85, and it's Leviticus chapter 22, verse 25. Leviticus chapter 22, verse 25, and it reads, neither from a stranger's hand shall you offer the bread of your Elohim of any of these, because their corruption is in them, and blemishes be in them. They shall not be accepted for you. So right here, this is a prohibition against Gentiles handling anything that we offer to the Most High, any food that we're offering up to the Most High, any bread that we're offering up to the Most High. So Israelites need to prepare their own bread and don't go and buy bread from Gentiles and expect that bread to be considered to be clean, but it's defiled by the hands of these Gentiles. And again, that's Leviticus chapter 22, verse 25. All right, moving on to the next commandment is commandment number 86, and it's Leviticus chapter 22, verse 32. And it reads, neither shall you profane my holy name, but I will be hallowed among the children of Israel. I am Yahuwah, which hallow you. So that's Leviticus chapter 22, verse 32. And that's commandment number 86. All right, that's a law against profaning the name of the Most High. All right, we're moving on to the next one. Is commandment number 87, and that's Leviticus chapter 23, verse 15 and 16. All right, and it reads, and ye shall count unto you from the morning after the Sabbath, from the day that ye brought the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Sabbaths shall be complete. Verse 16, even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath shall ye number 50 days, and ye shall offer a new meat offering unto Yahuwah. All right, so this is speaking of the Feast of Pentecost. And that's Leviticus chapter 23, verse 15 and 16. And it's commandment number 87. The Israelites commanded to keep the Feast of Pentecost. All right, the next one is number 88, and it's going to be Leviticus chapter 23, verse 23 and 24. And this is dealing with the Feast of Trumpets, and it reads, And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, in the 1st day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, a holy convocation. All right, again, that's the Feast of Trumpets, commanded to be kept by the Israelites. And that is Leviticus chapter 23, verse 23 and 24. And that's commandment number 88. Moving down to the next one is commandment number 89. And it's Leviticus chapter 23 and 27. And it reads, Also, on the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be a holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls. Again, this is the feast day of atonement, the holy day of atonement, commanded to be kept by the Israelites. And again, that's Leviticus chapter 23, verse 27. And that's commandment number 89. All right, so we're moving on to the next commandment, number 90. And that's Leviticus chapter 23, verse 34 through 36. And it's dealing with the Feast of Tabernacles. All right, so we're picking up at verse 34. Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, On the 15th day of this 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days unto Yahuwah. 35. On the 1st day shall be a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. Verse 36. 6 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah. On the 8th day shall be a holy convocation unto you, and ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah. It is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work therein. All right, so that's the Feast of Tabernacles. We're not required at this day to make animal sacrifices, but we can offer a bread offering unto the Most High. So that's, again, the Feast of Tabernacles. All right, so we're moving. That's commandment number 90. So we're moving on to the next one, commandment number 91, and it's Leviticus chapter 25, verse 17. And it reads, Ye shall not therefore oppress one another, but thou shalt fear thy Elohim, for I am Yahuwah, your Elohim. And that's Leviticus chapter 25, verse 17. And again, it's the prohibition of oppressing a fellow Israelite, and also reminding us to fear the Most High Power. So again, that's Leviticus 25, 17, commandment number 91. Moving on to the next commandment, number 92. It's going to be Genesis chapter 17, verses 11 through 12. All right, so we're going to get Genesis right quick. All right, Genesis chapter 17, verses 11 through 12. And this is the law of circumcision. And it reads, And ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant betwixt me and you. And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man child in your generations, he that is born in the house or brought with money of any stranger which is not of thy seed. All right, this is the law of circumcision, Genesis 17, 11, and 12. Genesis 17, 11, and 12, the law of circumcision. All right, moving on to the next commandment, number 93, and it's Leviticus chapter 25, verse 35. And it reads, "And if thy brother be waxen poor and fallen in decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him. Yea, though he be an Israelite stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with thee." All right, so this is again a law dealing with how we should treat our Israelite brothers and sisters. And if they be a stranger, we still must treat them kindly and look after them. So that's Leviticus chapter 25, verse 35. All right, moving down to the next commandment, number 94, is Leviticus chapter 25, verse 36 and 37. And it reads, "Take no usury of him," speaking of the Israelite stranger, "or increase, but fear thy Elohim, that thy brother may live with thee." So right here is letting you know that the stranger that they're talking about is of thy bloodline, because it speaks of him being a brother. So again, let's read that verse. "Take no usury of him or increase, but fear thy Elohim, that thy brother may live with thee." Okay, so that's Leviticus chapter 25, verse 36. Let's get 37. And it reads, "Thou shalt not give him thy money upon usury, nor lend him thy victuals for increase." I mean, we cannot charge him interest. We can't take advantage of our fellow Israelite brothers and sisters. It's a commandment. All right, moving on to the next commandment. It's going to be commandment number 95. It's going to be Leviticus chapter 25, verse 43. And it reads, "Thou shalt not rule over him with rigor, but shall fear thy Elohim." It's talking about your brother, your Israelite brother. We shall not rule over our Israelite brothers with rigor, but we shall fear our Elohim. All right, so we can just transpose that to our positions and situations today on these jobs, or whatever type of situation when we're dealing with our fellow brothers and sisters out here. We cannot mistreat them and abuse them. Okay, we have to have respect for them above the respect that we show to Gentiles. Again, so that's Leviticus chapter 25, verse 43. And that's commandment number 95. All right, so moving down to the next commandment, commandment number 96. It's found in the book of Numbers. The book of Numbers. All right, so it's going to be Numbers chapter 5, verse 2 and 3. Numbers chapter 5, verse 2 and 3. And it says, "Command the children of Israel that they put out of the camp every leper and everyone that hath an issue, and whosoever is defiled by the dead." Verse 3, "Both male and female shall you put out, without the camp shall you put them, that they defile not their camp in the midst whereof I dwell." All right, so again, it's talking about we are not supposed to be having fellowship and gathering with people that have leprosy, or the people that have an issue, a running issue of blood. Okay, so that is telling us that we must be separate from them. So that's Numbers chapter 5, verses 2 and 3. And again, that's commandment number 96. All right, moving on to the next commandment, number 97. It's going to be Numbers chapter 6, verses 2 through 8. Numbers chapter 6, verses 2 through 8 is dealing with the law of the Nazarites. And it reads, "Speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them, when either man or woman shall separate themselves to vow a vow of a Nazarite to separate themselves unto Yahuwah, he shall separate himself from wine and from strong drink, and shall drink no vinegar of wine or vinegar of strong drink. Neither shall he drink any liquor of grapes, nor eat moist grapes or dried grapes. Verse 4, all the days of his separation shall he eat nothing that is made of the vine tree, from the kernels even to the husk. Verse 5, all the days of his vow of his separation, there shall no razor come upon his head until the days be fulfilled in which he separateth himself unto Yahuwah. He shall be holy, and shall let the locks of the hair of his head grow. Verse 6, all the days that he separated himself unto Yahuwah, he shall come at no dead body. Verse 7, he shall not make himself unclean for his father, or for his mother, or for his brother, or for his sister, when they die, because the consecration of his God is upon his head. Verse 8, all the days of his separation, he is holy unto Yahuwah. So that is the law dealing with the Nazarites. And again, that's found in Numbers chapter 6, verses 2 through 8, and that's commandment number 97. All right, there's another law dealing with the Nazarite. We're going to read, it's going to be commandment number 98. It's going to be Numbers chapter 6, verse 18. And it reads, and the Nazarite shall shave the head of his separation at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and shall take the hair of the head of his separation and put it in the fire which is under the sacrifice of the peace offering. So again, this is the commandment that the Nazarite, once he completes his vow, he's to shave off his hair. And that is commandment number 98. All right, we're moving down to the next commandment, number 99. It's going to be Numbers chapter 10, verse 10. Numbers chapter 10, verse 10, and it reads, also in the day of your gladness and in your solemn days and in the beginning of your months, ye shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings and over the sacrifices of your peace offerings, that they may be to you for a memorial before your Elohim. I am Yahuwah, your Elohim. All right, so this is the commandment of the blowing of the trumpets or the shofars that we must adhere to during our feast days and holy days. And again, it's Numbers 10 and 10. It's commandment number 99. All right, moving to the next commandment, commandment number 100. It is found in Numbers chapter 15, verses 38 and 39. And it reads, speak unto the children of Israel, not the Gentile, this is only for us, and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations, and that they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue. And it shall be unto you, the Israelites, for a fringe, that ye may look upon it and remember all the commandments of Yahuwah and do them, and that ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, which ye used to go a whoring. So again, that is the commandment dealing with the law of wearing fringes for the Israelites. That's Numbers chapter 15, verses 38 and 39. All right, we moving to Numbers. The next chapter, the next commandment is going to be commandment number 101, and it's Numbers chapter 19, verse 14. Numbers chapter 19, verse 14, and it reads, this is the law when a man dieth in a tent. All that come into the tent, and all that is in the tent shall be unclean for 7 days. Let's read it again. And this is the law when a man dieth in a tent. All that come into the tent, and all that is in the tent shall be unclean for 7 days. All right, so that would, you can just transpose that, or you can just compare that with whenever, like they have an awake, a viewing of the body. If you enter into that room with that body, you're going to be unclean for a period of 7 days. So just keep that in mind. So that is Numbers chapter 19, verse 14. And that is the last commandment that I'm reading in this particular part 2. And I'd like to thank all of you for your participation, for listening. I look forward to your comments, and keep an eye out for part 3. We can go into 50 more of the laws, statutes, and commandments, again, totaling over 300 commandments that we are still required to keep today. So don't let anyone tell you that we have to keep 613. We don't have to keep 613 laws today because of various things that have happened throughout the course of time and happened to the Israelites. All right. So again, we have over 300 laws and statutes and commandments that we're required to keep today. And I'd like to thank you again for your participation. Thank you for listening. Shalom.
Hallelujah.